When the first emissary of the Varn Dominion arrived in orbit above Earth, they brought words coded in false diplomacy. Their fleets darkened the sky, promising peace while their cannons gleamed with conquest. Earth's people had endured much: wars, famine, and the silence of the void. But what they saw that day stirred something deep in their bones. They knew tyranny when they saw it. The Dominion offered a single choice: submission or extinction. They claimed their empire stretched across 1,000 stars, that resistance was pointless. Yet they did not understand humanity's nature. Humanity had always been the underdog, crawling from ashes, learning from ruin, standing again no matter how hard the fall. When the message of surrender reached the Earth Assembly, the decision was made in silence. They would not bow. The fleets of the Dominion returned weeks later. Their ships were colossal, mountains of alloy powered by singularity cores. They laughed at the idea of Earth's resistance, mockingly broadcasting that their orbital strike would end the experiment of humankind. The first blasts fell upon Mars colonies and Luna bases, silencing their signals. Cities burned across the stars, but the message that came from Earth was calm, measured, and final. Do not mistake our mercy for weakness. Deep beneath the planet's crust, in forgotten bunkers carved from an older era, machines awoke. They were remnants of Project Dawnfire, a defense protocol buried after the Terran unification wars. Generations had passed since then, but the cores still thrummed with power. Quantum forges reignited, and in silence shipyards hidden under oceans began to rise. Humanity had built these weapons not to conquer, but to survive the unimaginable. The Dominion's fleets advanced without hesitation. They crushed the outlying colonies, boasting of their invincibility. They thought Earth's silence meant fear. What they did not realize was that humanity had already moved beyond words. Every scientist, soldier, and citizen across the scattered colonies synchronized their minds under a single directive: endure, adapt, retaliate. The first human response came from the edge of the Sol system. A small vessel, seemingly harmless, drifted toward the Dominion's forward fleet. Its transmission carried a single phrase: "This is your last warning." The Varn commander ignored it and ordered the ship's destruction. But as the first plasma beam hit, the vessel unfolded. Its hull fractured in deliberate pattern, revealing the silhouette of something ancient, a relic of human defiance. The Aegis, a warship powered by a gravitic core and quantum singularity weapon, awoke. Its weapons had not seen the stars for centuries. The Dominion's ships fired again, but their energy dissipated against a barrier of blue light. The Aegis responded once. A single beam, pure and silent, cut through void and vaporized the enemy's flagship. What remained of the Varn fleet scattered in disbelief. They had never witnessed such precision, such wrath. But Earth was not done. The Dominion's retaliation was swift. Entire sectors fell under siege as they poured fleets into the Sol system. They declared war on humanity, broadcasting across the galactic network that the Terrans will serve or perish. Billions across the galaxy watched. Few believed Earth could stand against such an empire, but humanity had already transcended fear. The colonies of Titan, Europa, and Ceres became fortresses, each one a beacon of human will. When the Dominion fleet entered Jupiter's orbit, they found themselves blind. Communications failed. Sensors jammed and their ships collided in confusion. Out of the planet's storm clouds emerged massive vessels forged from living metal, human constructs known as sentinels. They were guided by artificial intelligences that thought and fought like humans but felt no hesitation, no doubt. The Dominion tried to retreat, but the sentinels cut through them like fire through paper. The galactic broadcast channels went silent for days. Then came the footage. Dominion armadas burning in Jupiter's shadow, human ships moving in perfect formation. The galaxy watched speechless as Earth did the impossible. Empires that had once mocked humanity began to reevaluate. The Varn, blinded by pride, saw this as a challenge rather than a warning. They gathered the Grand Armada, the might of their entire civilization, and marched toward Sol. Earth knew what was coming. Every satellite, every orbital defense array, every pilot was ready. The skies of Earth turned black with the reflection of steel. The Dominion's invasion began. Their ships entered the atmosphere, firing upon everything that moved. Cities vanished under bombardment, but humanity fought from the ruins. Resistance forces struck from underground bunkers and orbital stations. Even as fire consumed the skies, humans adapted, hacking Dominion systems, turning enemy drones against their masters. Then came the counterattack. At precisely 0 hour, humanity activated the Atlas network. Across the system, gateways opened, revealing ships that had been hidden for decades in deep space vaults. Each one bore the mark of the Terran Defense Pact, an alliance of every surviving colony. The fleet moved as one. When they fired, the void itself seemed to tremble. Dominion ships disintegrated under the assault. The Aegis led the charge, its weapon tearing open the enemy's flagship like paper. In the chaos, the Dominion commander tried to send a final order for retreat, but his signal never left the ship. Earth's cyber warfare systems had already infiltrated their network. Every Dominion ship began to receive human transmissions, not of surrender but of remembrance. Images of the destruction they had caused, the civilians they had executed, the peace they had broken. Humanity wanted them to see what they had unleashed. The war spread across the stars. Planets once controlled by the Dominion rose in rebellion. Inspired by the humans' defiance, the galaxy had always feared the wrath of humankind, whispered in stories told to frighten children. Now that wrath became reality. Human fleets didn't conquer. They liberated, dismantling Dominion outposts and freeing enslaved worlds. On the shattered world of Varn Prime, the Dominion Council gathered for what they believed would be their final defense. Their skies burned red with the light of descending Terran ships. One by one, their planetary shields failed. Humanity had given them every chance to stop. They had ignored every warning, and now the price was due. When the Terran flagship descended into the capital, it carried no armies, no demands, only a message. The voice that echoed through their halls was cold, steady, and absolute. We asked for peace. You chose war. You feared our rage. Now you will understand it. What followed was not annihilation, but revelation. The Dominion's war machine was dismantled, its people freed from their rulers. Humanity did not seek to enslave them, but to ensure no empire would ever again threaten the weak. The galaxy watched in silence as the once mighty Dominion fell not to destruction, but to justice. In the aftermath, new treaties were written. Empires that had once despised Earth now sought its guidance. The humans did not demand tribute or thrones. They demanded accountability and peace. Their fleets became guardians rather than conquerors. But those who had witnessed the war remembered every moment. The lightning of human weaponry, the fire in their resistance, and the terrible calm of their victory. Legends spread across the stars about that war. They said humanity was both savior and storm, capable of creation and destruction in equal measure. Some feared them. Others revered them. But all understood one truth. When humanity warned of wrath, it was not a threat. It was a promise. Generations later, children born under alien suns would ask their elders about the war. The answer was always the same. They were warned about humanity's wrath, and still they chose war. The galaxy would never forget the day Earth rose as one. It was not the power of their weapons that changed everything. It was the unity of their spirit. A species once divided by borders, by faith, by pride, became a single will forged in defiance. And that will, unbroken and eternal, became the shield that guarded the stars. Even centuries later, the phrase endured in the hearts of countless worlds, whispered in reverence and fear alike. Whenever a tyrant rose, whenever an empire forgot compassion, they looked toward the blue world in the night sky and remembered the lesson written in fire and courage. That was the legacy of humanity, the wrath that taught the galaxy peace.